What is up, Klatt? How are you, my friend?
I'm good, guys. How are you? I'm sorry I had to change times on you here.
Yes.
School board duties.
You're on the
Not
school
joking.
board? You're on the school board?
Yeah, God help us.
Yeah. Wow. They were like, does
Or
anybody?
God help those kids, I guess I
God
should
help
say.
the children. Klatt presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Look. Everybody on social media wants us. Not everybody. A lot of people wanted us to address something you said during the telecast. SEC gets the benefit of the doubt because, well, I think you said the other conference, benefit of the doubt because of the small number. And then shortly after that, Penn State, who also has a small number, completely lays an egg.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what people want us to ask you about that. I wanted to ask you about Penn.
No, I mean it's
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No. Please go ahead.
Um I think the back end of the top 25 is littered with bad SEC teams.
Okay.
I've thought that for years. Now that's an opinion that is not shared by SEC fans. But that's fine. And I don't think that has anything to do with the fact that the top end of college football is not as great as it once was. And then when you couple that with the fact that, right now teams that are bad or have bad records have some talent because of revenue sharing and NIL and transfer portal and the dispersion of talent across the country. Now all of a sudden, well, you have a 1-3 Florida team that's actually a really good football team and has a five-star quarterback. You've got an 0-4 team in UCLA that has not looked like anything. But oh, by the way, that quarterback, well, no one, likes him, especially from Tennessee because of everything that happened in the offseason. He's still really a talented player, and he put that team on their back. So I think that the margin between bad and good in college football is shrinking drastically. But I think those two things are mutually exclusive. Like what happened to Penn State and Clemson so far this year and Texas so far this year is not the same thing as me saying like I think that the back end, the middle of the SEC always gets the benefit of the doubt, which is like this. It's like a perpetuating overrating of the conference because well that's a good win and then that's a good loss. Meanwhile, other conferences fluctuate wildly, when teams lose and everything, and then people just fall out, and then it's no longer a good win for the people at the top. But in the SEC, it just always sits there. You're just always ranked in there from 18 to 25.
Well,
That's
look,
all I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Fair enough.
it has. This league has become the NFL like. And we look at top 10 teams right now, Klatt. Clemson, Texas, Penn State. Those three teams, in my opinion, are dead and buried. There are two teams in the SEC this week, in Alabama going to Missouri, and Georgia going to Jordan-Hare, that I think there's a good shot both those teams lose. And I'm not going to say they're dead and buried yet, but, man, can you imagine half the top 10 to start the season already has multiple losses, and it looks like they're not getting to a college football playoff? But I think that's where we are on October 6th right now.
Probably good for the sport. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
in terms of getting more fan bases excited for so long, and we've talked about this a little bit. There was a really small number of fan bases that could be excited about the top end prospects of their team and program, and I think that's changed pretty dramatically. I think Indiana has real expectations now this year. I think Texas A&M has real expectations. Ole Miss. It's not a pipe dream. Maybe not that it was, but like real expectations now. Miami, real team. Oregon. These are not traditional blue blood programs. Now, I would disagree with you on the Georgia Auburn thought. I don't think that Auburn is nearly as good as like let's say Missouri. But like Bama, Missouri, that's going to be a difficult game. There's no doubt. And then you have to also throw in my original comment, which was I don't think the margin between bad or even average and good is as drastic as it used to be. So with that as the background, any of these games are losable for even what we would have deemed a really heavy favorite.
Still hanging around in the back end of the top 25 after a 40-point loss at Indiana is Illinois. They get Ohio State. I like this Illinois team still, but my goodness, can anybody score on Ohio State? 25 points all season.
I don't know. I can't wait to. So we're doing that game. I can't wait to cover that game. Just to see Ohio State again and see some of their growth from what I thought was like a really conservative game plan against Texas offensively. has started to open up a little bit with Julian Sayin at quarterback. I thought they threw the ball probably as well as they have all year against Minnesota. For Ohio State, and I know, listen, we come on here and we banter and I get labeled like a Big Ten guy or defender or Ohio State honk, but up to this point, they've been the team that has shown the least amount of weaknesses in the country. And they also, I think, have the best singular unit in college football on their defense. And I don't think it's that close. Statistically, there are some teams that are close. Like OU's defense has played statistically really well. Their defensive line is outstanding. But there's just something different when you watch Ohio State's defense. Like, at no point, even if there's a couple of first downs made, I'm just like, there's no chance this team is scoring over 9, maybe 10 points at max, because of the speed on the field. And then you have to start to think to yourself, like, as good as Jim Knowles was there, best defense in the country statistically a year ago, won a national championship, they're better now. Even with all of those exits that they had from those players that were drafted. They're faster at the linebacker spot with Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. And their wrinkles are more intricate, and they're executing them. And this is a very NFL-esque style of defense. This is like, oh, wait, you've got some of the best defenders in college football that are all really smart, that are executing a game plan that's been derived by a guy that won Super Bowls. It's like, that's what it looks like. Oh, by the way, the offense is also really good, So I think Ohio State, right, for me, was pretty clear number one. I understand the people that wanted to vote Miami based on resume. I get it, and that's fine. But when you watch the two, I think Ohio State is starting to separate themselves out a little bit, and we'll see how that materializes as they face better competition.
Yeah. Joel Klatt is with us. He's on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag. I am convinced the best college football coach in America right now is Billy Napier when he's coaching a game that if he loses, he gets fired. I mean, every time, like, if you lose, you're going to get fired, Billy. He turns into Nick Saban. It's the weirdest thing.
Okay, so I was saying this, and this is like, it's a roundabout take. And I try not to be a hot take guy. I do my best. Is it more fireable to be that inconsistent?
I know.
Like, is it almost more maddening to be like, wait.
Yeah.
Wait. That's available?
I know.
And yet we get this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like when you make a purchase in the snack machine and it gets stuck, and you're like, well, crap, I've only got 50 cents left now. I gotta downgrade. I didn't know.
It's like dating a hot girl that only dresses up twice a year. She's in sweatpants the rest of the time.
That's available.
Yeah, that's right. And then she walks down and she looks, beautiful. Not that I have this problem with my wife.
No.
She walks down and you're like, hold on.
Yeah.
That's available? Like,
no, it's wild.
What are we doing?
Last year they knocked Ole Miss out of the playoffs. This year, I mean, they made. Lance is right. They may have
Didn't
buried
they beat
Texas.
Tennessee last year too?
Did they beat Tennessee last year?
In that late stretch. I can't remember. I think they played them fairly tight.
Yeah. Anyway,
anyway, regardless. To your point, like. It's almost more maddening.
It is, but it's Arch.
It's the obligatory interview afterwards where he's like, "I couldn't be more proud of a group," and it's like, yeah, but like your own failures put you in this hole.
Exactly. But on the other side of that,
sorry, I keep interrupting.
Sure.
It's more frustrating for me to watch Florida do that than it is. For me, if they were just constantly bad, it'd be like, okay, we need to switch. But here it's like, well, do we or don't we? And it's like, well, listen, that's part of the issue. Do you have any faith that the inconsistency will change? I don't.
What I was going to ask you, though, is, like, I was to the point where I thought
Lance would ask this question. You're
no,
ask about
I'm
Arch.
stealing Lance's
Lance
question.
Is just biding his time.
You want to ask him about Arch?
No. Like, I mean, they're not even.
Are you just basking in the glory?
No, look.
Are you going to pull it back?
Texas,
that week when I laughed at you,
Texas
and now you're right.
Is such an entitled fan base, and it is fun watching them struggle in the SEC in year two, and they're not even a top 10 team in this league right now. They're not a top 10 team in this league. But go ahead, Brown.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I was Arch is bad, Klatt. It's not that he's not good. And he's playing
and by
bad.
the way, it's all bad.
Yeah.
So I watched the tape.
Okay.
I watched the tape last night. I watched the whole tape of the Penn State game. I watched the whole tape of Texas, Florida, and it's all bad. To Arch's defense, small defense, he's bad. He's bad. He is not playing well. I'm not defending him. This is my freaking team on my show. I said at one point after saying like, oh, all this pressure and like that's not Arch's fault. And then they cut that for the Open. So it makes it seem like I'm sitting in the Open of my show being like, it's not Arch's fault. I texted him this morning. I was like, guys, like, what are we doing? It's the first 50 comments in the YouTube. It's like, well, I'm not watching this. It's just a defensive arch. It's not a defensive arch. Arch was terrible. Oh, golly. Anyways, it's been a great morning. Arch was bad. The offensive line was bad. Like, bad. Can't run the football at all. He was their only run threat. The defense was not anywhere close to as dominant or as good even as we expected them to be. We thought they could be a top 3 defense in the league. That wasn't it. Getting Dallas Wilson back, I thought was really important for Florida. They looked different. And it's pretty clear, like if you allow DJ Lagway and that offense to get explosive plays, then they're going to have a lot of success that day. And not just because of those plays, but it kind of builds into itself. That's what they hadn't been able to do against LSU. They hadn't been able to do that against Miami or South Florida. So while I knew Florida's defense was good, I thought Texas could get to 21 or 24. And here's the thing, Lance, is like I never expected Florida to go for 29. Just like in UCLA, like I never expected UCLA to go for 42. And then like, what happened to these defenses? So again, not a defensive arch. He was not good. And even when he did finally have a clean pocket, I kept counting on him like, man, that pocket's bad. That pocket's bad. That pocket. And I was like, is he ever going to get a clean pocket? He gets a clean pocket, overthrow pick. And I'm like, well, okay. So everyone's just getting minuses down. But don't worry. My team wants to tell you that I think Arch wasn't the problem.
So Klatt, there are 2 games that are fascinating to me this weekend: Alabama, Missouri, and then Indiana, Oregon. You talked about Indiana's playing for bigger things. I wish for you guys you had that game instead of Ohio State, Illinois, but I know at 11 o'clock
Do
kick.
you think they'll kick it at 9?
Yeah, it's a little difficult. But right now, I mean, what is the more impressive?
Hell of a week over here, Brownie. We're just doing great over here.
And he's got to go to a school board meeting on top of that.
Okay, but until this point, what is the more impressive win? Oregon beating Penn State on the road in overtime, or Indiana completely just curb stomping Illinois for their one loss? I mean, like,
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think Indiana might be a better team than Oregon. Is that crazy?
I don't think that's crazy. Indiana is very different at home. If you were to like go, I would encourage you as you like break down those games, go look at their home road splits. They're really, really, really good at home. That dates back to last year. But they're not bad elsewhere. Although the worst game they played was that game we had at Ohio State.
I think the moment was too really big last year in that game, was it not?
Yeah, that's right. And listen, that's a different beast, right? It's one thing to like, destroy Illinois or Nebraska a year ago and what was a big game and we were there and they were at home. But when you walk into the shoe, that's a different thing. And you look across and you're like, oh, there's 14 draft picks over there. Like that's obviously just a different animal. And they're going to see something similar to this week. I think Oregon is very, very good. And I think that the more as wild as this sounds after the UCLA loss, the more impressive one was actually, I think, Oregon beating Penn State. I know that sounds wild right now, but I'm going to maintain that opinion. What happened in the Illinois game for Indiana, that score was not nearly as indicative of the game that played out because again, this is in the weeds. Illinois lost their entire secondary during the course of that game, very early into the third quarter. And then that's when it just like totally unraveled. They had 2 third-string players and 2 backups playing in the secondary. In fact, one of the third-string players had entered the transfer portal in the spring. Guys, you'll love this. Why Surrey's trying to listen to me. Hell of a morning. One of their third-string players that was in the secondary had entered the transfer portal and couldn't find a location.
Oh, my God.
And had to come back. So it's like, is it?
Hey,
So that's why I would say that. I know I know it's in the weeds. I think that's going to be a great game. I really do, and we'll see if the moment is too big for Indiana.
2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. Right
I know
here.
this your getaway right here. Your production team wants you
Sorry,
to answer
guys.
this question. What if Ty Simpson's last name was Manning?
Oh, he would be walking. We would if Ty Simpson's name was Ty Manning, we would cancel the end of the season Heisman Trophy ceremony
Do it
and
now.
just do it now.
You're right. He would be the number one
He would be,
overall
he would
pick,
be, yes.
too. He would be.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah. Ty
Okay.
that's the best passing game, pure passing game in college football. Simpson has been the best quarterback in college football from a passing perspective. There's been other guys that have done things with their legs. I think Dante Moore is right there. He's been playing really well. CJ Carr at Notre Dame has played really well, even though they've got a couple of losses, just from a quarterback perspective.
Yeah.
Simpson's incredible, and I thought it was, I get to buzz through other tapes, but I really study the two teams that I'm going to do, and Wisconsin just so happened to have Alabama on their schedule. So last week when I'm preparing for Wisconsin, I'm really diving in to the Alabama film when they played Wisconsin. And there were like 5, I want to say, Lance, times where I paused the film. Or sorry, Jim, you asked the question. I paused the film and I was like, whoa. Like that was a big league top 3 draft pick throw. Like salivate, like it's really good. And to me, if they can just get competent running the football, which they were, I felt like last week. They took some strides running the football last week. They don't have to be great running the football, but you don't want to be Washington of a few years ago that, like once they got their back hurt, they couldn't really run it. And then all of a sudden you run into a team with a great pass rush and you're stuck. That's the fear for me for Alabama. And if you don't protect him, it turns into Florida State. Right, so you got to protect them twofold with quality offensive line play and at least a competent run game to keep the defense honest. And if they can do that, then I think Alabama might win the SEC.
Myers in the chat room says, I can't wait for the video from the school board meeting of Klatt complaining about the neighboring county being overrated, but always getting the benefit of the doubt. So
Yeah, they always do. They always do. Yeah, that's right. What are we, like the Irvine School District? Their rating.
I mean, what are things that they bring up in these meetings? I mean, is it like, hey, Tabitha wants to, she wants to identify as a cat?
We're more like our job is more forward looking than that. If we're not talking about things that are 2 and 3 years out, then we're not doing our job. Mm-hmm. And it's just a small Christian school, and so we're just trying to make sure that we're staying mission true, so that we don't drift. Remember, like Harvard was started as like a Bible seminary school. Now look at it. And it's like, well, how do we prevent that in just our little small atmosphere here?
Okay. All right.
Remain mission true.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
All right, well,
Psalm 46:1 on your way to on your way to this meeting. Okay.
what's it say, Jim? Psalm 46:1.
It is. God is our refuge, man. When you're having one of these mornings, 46:1.
That's right. Psalm
man.
46:1. That's our verse for you today, Klatt.
Yeah. When that production team's throwing stuff
That's right.
at you, man.
You give them Psalm 46:1.
Yeah.
I stick to Proverbs 28:1.
Which is what?
The wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion.
Yeah.
Not a Nittany lion. They weren't very bold. Not
were
the
not.
Nittany lion. Don't go with the Nittany lion. Not very bold.
Didn't say anything about Nittany
That's
lions
true. It was
there.
not in there.
Not.
All right, Klatt. Get out of here, man. Thank you, buddy.
Later, boys.
All
Have
right,
a good
so-
one.
Yeah. Better buy out in the Old and New Testaments.
That's right.